Here we are at our first armchair punditry podcast, streamcast, etc., etc. So I've introduced the guys. Welcome, lads.
Hey, Rob. How's it
Hey,
going?
Bob.
And what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be discussing a couple of topics, three topics, literally over the space of 20 minutes. So we join them up. So I'll have a little beeper there just so we don't get too far down our own clouds. I think, it's unbiased as much as we can be, but I think each week or each session, we're going to have a couple of people on that have different opinions. So I guess we'll crack on with our first topic of discussion. I thought it would be an interesting one to start with. I think everybody's talking about it is VAR and how it has impacted the game. I guess we're talking Premiership for now at the start of these little programs, just for the sake of shortness. But VAR, I mean, I guess, Tommy, are you a fan or not a fan?
Look, I'm always open to new technology. I tell you the truth. The goal line technology coming in at first, I was agreeable with, because instances over the years, and that was actually a goal. I think it was Frank Lampard against Germany in the World Cup 2010. It was a yard over the line, didn't get the goal. That's just one instance. But then you go back to last year, VAR. There's the pros and cons of it is that still they try to leave the referee to make that decision, but I think the referee actually leaves it to the VAR. And you remember last season when Sheffield United played Aston Villa? You probably remember the game when Nyland, the Villa keeper, carried the ball over the line, and the players were all buzzing around and going mad. And I think who was the referee was Michael Oliver, and he didn't go to VAR. VAR seen it, didn't say anything to him. Then at half time, he was in, and his watch bleeped at half time to say that it was a goal. So the technology, it did, and it didn't work. So he went, fuck, pardon my language, cut that out. He went, should have been a goal. And to me, VAR fell down there, and the goal decision technology fell down there. So that was it. That was probably teething problems as such, and VAR didn't step in. And the referee couldn't change it at half time, because then he'd be causing trouble, and he realised he should have given the goal.
Villa stayed up because of that, didn't they, Tommy?
They did.
Villa ended up staying up.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, Villa ended up staying up, and they got a point. They got a point there, and then it changed the course of their season. And this year they could make Europa League. I don't think they make Champions League, but I think this year they could make Europa League. And that to me, that was a big decision to change. And let's go recently this week, and I refer to the Southampton game this weekend. If I was Danny Ings, I'd be freaking out over that as a striker. Absolutely freaking out over that. Your hand is offside. You come in, keeper side, and you ram it home again. So little things like that, I go, then can you probably talk about last week, Harry Maguire? You know what I mean? And you Sheffield United against United. United, like, if you want to, the game last week, United, Clark, was it Billy Sharp pushed David De Gea? VAR didn't step in.
Well, I think some official word has come back to say that decision was wrong.
Yeah, but there you go. So they got back to him.
And look, the way I see it is that is the experience for the punter, for the players, is it worth the upheaval? It's kind of with VAR, it's there to get decisions right, and 9 times out of 10 it probably is getting decisions right, but at the expense of what? At the expense of the whole viewer experience has been diminished because of it. It's not the same. I was talking to a Leeds fan at work the other day, and I think Jack Harrison scored a cracking goal against Newcastle, and he said I couldn't celebrate it. He scored a goal on the volley with his left foot and win the game, and he couldn't get up to celebrate it. And that's wrong in a sense. But the game is very much over sanitized now, when people want to get to the right answer, to the right decision, and it is going to come it has come at the expense of the viewers. The viewers' sort of experience, it's not the same. It's not as good. But you pointed out that instance with Villa, Tommy, and that's an instance where VAR didn't work.
Yeah.
The marginal stuff, like the offside stuff, Mane's was offside for the winning goal for Liverpool at Everton that wasn't given.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ings the other night, and the commentator in that game actually uttered these words. What he said was, Ings may have been offside because he had a black armband on. I mean, that's just crazy to think that we're coming down to that type of fine, minute margin that because you have an armband on, you could be offside. That stuff's just annoying. But you know what? We're okay when it goes for our team, and we're kind of okay when it goes against the other team. So that's it. Yeah,
I think that's a good point. It's like with overturned penalties and this, that, and the other. Generally it's look, we're all very passionate about our soccer, but if some go for you, some go against you. I think one that sticks out to mind was Bamford. I think it was against Crystal Palace where he pointed to for where he wanted the ball to go. And it was literally at that point it was his arm, going over this supposed wonky line, green, yellow, red. And it's very frustrating. And you'd like to think that. It's at what point again there's another issue of at what point is it frozen, at what point of impact is the ball. There was
I have a big issue with that.
Well,
I have a big issue with that. The goal line stuff is great because it's black and white, it's factual,
clear.
With the offside, as I understand it, I think it's a human touch. It's somebody touching pause basically on a video screen. I mean, how accurate can that be when you're coming down to millimeters? It's supposed to be when the ball leaves the foot, isn't it? So who's got that exact time and to press pause exactly as the ball leaves the foot? I think technology will probably arrive for offsides, and I'm all for the goal line technology. And if they bring offside technology in, I think it'll work brilliantly. But the subjective stuff, like we used to go into work arguing that wasn't a penalty or that was a penalty. We're still arguing over after these VAR decisions. How far down the road has it actually got us? But I suppose one consideration I made today that would probably have us on the same page was that Henry's handball for the qualification for the playoff match in Paris against France, that wouldn't have stood if VAR was around at that time, and we would have been possibly, if we had finished the game out, we could have been at the World Cup that year. What was that, 2010? Was it? So you have that, and then you have the hand of God, Maradona. That probably wouldn't have stood. So.
Well, look, that was the one. Game, mind you. I know. And then he made up for it. Then I think what's really frustrating, it's one item is that after exactly the thing with I can't remember the City guy Rodrigo coming back when Rodri was coming back, and then he interfered with the ball, and then the goal it went subsequently it was a goal, and then they changed the rule the next day. So it's the trying to make the rules better. But I think as a fan, us as fans, to when a goal is scored, you don't know whether to celebrate. Literally at home, you're like. I think Liverpool, West Ham, you saw a build up, and you could sort of say, "Oh, if this goes in, it's a goal or whatever." But when balls come in, you just don't know what to build up, and it's so frustrating. You're sitting in your chair, and you're not doing it. Oh, there's our first.
Can I give one just point there, lads, about goals, right? Callum Wilson got a great header at the weekend, right? Where was Jeff Hendrick standing? Right in front of the Everton keeper. All right, and he was in the old days that would have been offside. Just a quick one. I watched Clifton Dale at the weekend against Glenavon, and they scored a goal. Clifton Vale, right? McManaman scored a goal, and Curran actually opened his legs, and the ball went through him, right, his legs, but he was in front of the goalkeeper. He went to the linesman, the referee, and the linesman had his flag up and said no goal, and there was no VAR in the Irish League. You know what I mean? So there was one rule.
Our referees now getting a bit lazy. Our referees getting a bit lazy because the job's been done for them. Another thing though has put out a bit of diving as well. There's not as much diving because players are afraid now they'd be ousted on the VAR and they get their yellow cards. Where without VAR, you only have to call the referee in a split moment, But for me, look, it's here to stay. I think it'll be here in 5 years. I think it'll be here in 10 years. It's just what we've lost in football because of it. I just think we're going to have to suck up now. I think it's here. Hopefully, it will get better. It will develop, and it'll become, a bit better.
Yeah, I think, and your final word, Tom. What's your opinion on it? You think it's here to stay?
Oh yeah. I actually think it kind of worked in the World Cup. Actually, I think it was actually worked in the World Cup, but I don't think. I think the World Cup was a one-off occasion. There wasn't as many matches either. When you think about it, and for some reason they got it all right, and it was all international referees. I don't know, but I think it is going to stay. And we're going to be fighting and arguing over it as well. As Ken said earlier on, penalties. You say that's not a penalty. This is a penalty. That is the gist
That's
of it, Rob.
difficult, you know. That's still the human decision there. The offside where they can draw a line. Mo Salah said it the other night. In different leagues, they do give the benefit of the doubt a certain space to a foot or to the attacker. I think they'll get around to that.
Yeah.
You know, the line is a little clearer. But I think with the likes of it's a push, it's not a push. Give one, you have to give the other. You know, and then. Yeah. They're the decisions I think are still that's human. That's a human decision at the end of the day when they're reflecting.
Yeah.
There was one thing again, you know, they're getting into the refs here and then the ref goes over and it's up to them to show them what different replay is not. So it's still very human led with regards to that. But I think it's a topic that on these Zoom calls we will discuss further. Cool. Thanks for that, boys, gentlemen. Beautiful. Great. Oh my God, how 7 or 8 minutes flies in so quickly.
I know.
So quickly on to our next subject, I guess, again, which is very debatable what you think about it, is the no fans in the stadiums. Obviously for good reason. And there was a period of time when, interesting enough, there were some fans there. And I think it made a difference. Even those 2,000 fans for the team. I think we were all quite shocked at the difference. I don't have any stats on me at the moment, but the stats as they lie, I think it's 45% of away wins up to date so far in the Premier League, which is
that's incredible.
It's I have something written down here. There was at 233 away goals to 283. Home goals. That's bonkers. Yeah. So it's the season of the goals. Discuss.
Yeah. Well, look, if you had to ask me back in during the last lockdown before football returned, we're going to go in without fans. We're going to have games without fans. You'd be thinking Madrid. You'd be saying, God, it's not going to be that great. It's going to be a bit soulless, and it's not going to have the passion. What will the players be like? Will it be like a training session? But, looking back now, Jesus, we would have been lost without it, and we've had nearly a year's football. Well, we've had 9 months of football since lockdown. We had those little mini tournaments in the summer with the finishing out of the European tournaments, which are great. And, football has kept us going, hasn't it, at this difficult time? For the likes of us, anyway, it has. So I think the price to pay probably isn't the same, but certainly well worth it. That's how I feel about it, How about you, Tom?
It's Ken. No, you're spot on with that. It has kept the armchair viewer really, interested. And I know it kept us all interested, and it's the about the crowd instance though, and I have to be honest with you, lads, I have to switch off the crowd noise. I rather listen to it without the crowd noise. The match. I don't like the false crowd noise. I like a real crowd. Now I didn't mind it when, say, the Chelsea match was on and the Chelsea had their 3,000 or 4,000 whatever fans in the ground, and that was grand, and it was a nice noise. And I think the Cup was open one of the matches, and that was a good noise to hear, And but by and large, I don't like the false noise. Like, they're going to be on tonight in BT, and that false noise. BT, there's no option in BT. There's an option in Sky. There's an option in Sky, and I always go to the channel where it's quiet when you can hear the players, yakking and talking and the man just having a go, whatever. The false noise, it can't do me. But it was a real noise, absolutely great. You know what I mean? That you know yourself, going to League of Ireland game, going to Old Trafford or whatever, or Anfield, and we've all done that. It's great to be around the crowd and talking to somebody and cheering the team on and getting into the buzz of it. And there has been instances in football, and I think one of the games, I can't remember the United game, where there was a foul that happened on the touchline here on the Stretford end, and they said if that was a full crowd, the ref would have given a free there. Would have baited the crowd, and it didn't happen. I can't even remember the game. I'm going mad now, but it was an incident that happened, and the crowd would have sucked it in. And I think Liverpool in the cup used to scream for everything. You know what I mean? Scream for everything, and that it was nearly the referee would have to go, geez, I have to give something here. So in that sense, yes, the home crowd has been missed for the home team. I think it does help the home team.
Well, it's famously been known as the 12th man, and I think that we're just glad to see football and to experience it. I think it was a bit odd. Well, it was very odd for a long time. It was just like watching pre-season friendlies and that the noise of players screaming in the stands, echoing from the stands. And it's a very bizarre
Yeah.
thing. We've got completely used to it. I think the crowd noise thing I didn't
Yeah.
like at the start because they hadn't got it sussed at all. But there's obviously people there
Yeah.
with buttons, you know. Go, oh, you know.
Yeah,
They have it better, although I think
Yeah.
they have it better. But there was an RTE game
Yeah.
on a while back, and it was pretty slow to say the fact. But yeah, so you got your BT and everything. It's I didn't think we're all happy to see it. But regarding the actual standard of play, it's actually the goals or the actual stats themselves are incredible. Do you think that I personally, as an old goalkeeper, I think there's a lot to be said for not having that. You can just know that the crowd are behind you as a goalkeeper or they're completely against you, and I think that has had a big effect on defenses and keepers. Myself, I think that it's having that. It's like you've heard commentators recently say, this is a period of time where a certain team, home team, can't put a pass together or have made a couple of mistakes, and the crowd are on them. They're on them, and they feel, well, that isn't there this time. And I think managers now are a little bit more in the mode and psychology of, the game was great, positives. It's very seldom you see a manager come out these days and around that team, So it's another thing. I think the power of the crowd is a thing that we miss. What do you think about the actual amount of away goals that have been conceded this season?
Well, it must be. I mean, it must be something to do with the whole no crowd and less pressure on certain parts of the pitch, of the positions on the pitch. I think I've seen a stat that it's the most away wins since 1888, which is incredible.
Jeez,
And Martin Tyler said that the other day, commentating on the Liverpool game. But that's a crazy stat. So the dynamic has definitely changed,
But you're spot on with, sorry for cutting across 1888, and that makes a lot of sense, Ken, because I don't know if you've seen a program on Netflix called The English Game, and it was the start of the English. You seen it? Have you seen it? It's a TV series, very good, and it's about the birth of English football and the birth of football. There was no away fans those days. You know what I mean? You would have had a home fans, and it'd be a local. The game would be on the Saturday afternoon in England, and the men would finish their work, the factory at 1:30 the day, and then head down to watch the match. You know what I mean? And that was the day out and all that, and probably a drink after it. So and that there was vitriol in the home fans, but people didn't travel that much those days. They did travel, but not the way it was, the way it is now. But that's a great point about 1888. Like that, just going off Cater about away fans. I think no fans has suited players like Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has really improved this year, and a lot of stick. He's been getting a lot of stick off fans over the years, and probably the home crowd probably go ooh ah. I'm just using him as an example as well. And he's thriving without fans. He's just up and down that wing, playing, and that chap looks like the England fullback that he nearly came before. Like, you know what I mean, the proper England fullback.
That's a very good point. That's a very good. There are players on it, and look, it's like the press or the pundits, not the real armchair pundits. Like they're there they're getting paid to have controversial views. They're not all going to swim down the same river, So so they're going to pick players like Chris Sutton. There's certain of them. Graham Souness, our favorite, there's certain they pick players out, and players are affected by that hugely. But more interestingly, there's more fans watch that, so then the fans, are sucked up with this silly person's psychology, and then they say, "Oh, we'll see what happens today. We'll see how bad Origi plays today. Oh, we'll see what happens to Fat Luke Shaw today. Well, if he makes this mistake, oh, I told you so."
Yeah.
I think that's a great point that they're not doing it as much these days.
Yeah, very good.
The fans. So, Rob, we've got one more little point. We've got to keep it sweet for our 20 minutes. And our last and almost final point is we'll go back to some Irish football. Good point about the Henry thing. I never thought about VAR for that, God, when you think about it. But I think I did watch some sort of footage about them sort of saying they were laughing in some country and said that Ireland had put in, Delaney and co had put in, I think, to play the match again, one was another thing, but to have an extra team in the World Cup because of it, I think Sepp Blatter was
Sepp Blatter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they're all
yeah.
giggling about it. It was quite a funny thing. But with regards to Irish football, it's a conversation that I hope we can delve into a little bit more as these things progress. But I think simply, and this will be a talk about your personal favourite. So I guess to ask you both, who your favourite Irish footballer of all time today is, really.
Let's go.
Ken, I'll ask. I'll end there.
Yeah, for me, it came down to two players. It came down to Liam Brady, who I can talk about a little bit. But the man who, for me, that I would consider our greatest ever player was Paul McGrath. I just think Paul McGrath, his natural talent and his natural ability, just outweighed his character, everything about the man. He could play in different positions. He played as a holding midfielder. Obviously, played centre half. He's played right full. In fact, one of the games, Tommy, you and I had discussed previously, was that the Ireland team against Bulgaria in 1987. You remember we used to get off on a half day on a Wednesday and go and watch the qualifiers?
Yeah.
But there was an amazing Irish 11 out that day.
Yeah.
And I always think it was probably the best Irish 11 ever put out. Very quickly, it was Pat Bonner in goal. But Paul McGrath actually played right full. And the reason he played right full was because probably weren't going to be able to stick him in anywhere else in the pitch. They had McCarthy and Moore in centre half, and Ronnie Whelan actually played left full to squeeze him into the team. Galvin was on one wing, Houghton on the other wing, and Mark Lawrenson was actually in the middle of the pitch with Liam Brady, with Aldo and Staple up front. I think that's probably the greatest Irish 11 ever take to a field. Wow. But anyway, back to the Paul McGrath thing. McGrath, 6 years at United, 7 years at Villa. He's actually, more affectionately remembered at Villa than he is at United. Nearly won the league a couple of times with Villa, won 2 League Cups. Yeah. Villa fans absolutely adore him. They have chance. They still think chance in the whole time about him. They absolutely adore him. I just love his story. Obviously, Pierce Rovers, Dock United. 2 years after playing for Dock United, he was playing for Manchester United, which is incredible. It's like someone going from Leinster Senior League now, playing for, Trinity or whatever, and then heading off and playing for Liverpool in 2 years' time. It's just incredible. In between that was obviously the St. Pat's season. But no, McGrath. And when I think about McGrath, I always think back to Giant Stadium in New York in '94. I think he was an absolute colossus that day. If you ever get to watch that game back. It's just a defensive masterclass. Roberto Baggio up against him, and he was just outstanding. Yeah. And all the while, he had Phil Babb beside him, so he needed to be good that day. But he was.
We're going to win the World Cup.
Yeah, we're going to win the World Cup. Yeah, that's.
But you're spot on about that. Mancini, Baresi, and Baggio. I think they all picked him in their best ever teams. Yeah. I know Baresi definitely did. Baresi was a massive fan. Yeah, I remember talking about Paul McGrath just before he left in '89. Man United played AC Milan in a friendly match, or could have been '88. Anyway, they played him in a friendly match, and it was on one of them. It was like early Sky Sports. It was one of them satellite channels, and Milan were 3-0 ahead, and United came back 3-2. And there was an incident where Baresi got the ball and chipped it over the head, and he was trying to beat the United midfield and all that. And the ball came bouncing down, and he got creamed over by McGrath. And McGrath just took him and the ball over and went bang. And it was McGrath saying, "I'm just as good as you, pal." You know what I mean? And so you're spot on. So McGrath earned a lot of respect off a lot of the talents. And then the Inter Milan game after that in the UEFA Cup, when Villa knocked out Inter on penalties, then the spare camp was playing for Inter that night, and Houghton scored that night as well for Villa. But a lot of respect after that, a lot of respect. So
when I think about McGrath as well, you think about the moments that Ireland have had. We obviously qualified for '88, and then the incredible journey in 1990, and then over to USA '94. He was part of all three of them. When I was looking at Liam Brady, Liam Brady went to Serie A when probably the best league in the world, where the best players in the world were there, like incredible footballers were over playing in Serie A. Some of his teammates were exceptional. And Liam Brady is massively respected in Italy, still is. But Brady, when you look at it from an Ireland point of view and the Ireland team point of view, Brady didn't play in the tournament. And now he was suspended for '88, and he kind of had a bit of a fall in every jack in '90. But so that's why I probably would have gone for McGrath ahead of Brady because of the Irish thing. But Brady, I think, probably the most talented footballer we've ever had in the middle of the pitch. You know, Robbie Keane obviously for the goals, Roy Keane for a certain other, you know, attribute contribution that he'd have that'd be fairly exclusive to him. But McGrath won slightly pitching Brady because of what he did for the Ireland team itself.
Great. Good choices. I think I as I was going to ask you, mine were between Chippy and McGrath as well. I think I probably would have went for Brady just because of the whole international thing. So what about yourself, Tom?
Well, I won't go in. I'm going to go back a bit, and I kind of guessed that McGrath and Brady and Roy Keane will be mentioned between us. So I'm going to go back to a player. So for people who are watching this as well, there was a great player called Gentleman John Carey. And both your fathers and my father would know about this man. And he played for St. James Gate before the war, and then signed for Manchester United before the war for £250. He missed out with the bulk of his career because of World War II, and he stayed in Britain, and he joined the army in Britain, and he fought in Italy and the Middle East and all that. And he actually guest played for Liverpool and Everton during World War II. Just a little fact. But the reason why I'm saying John Carey, he was the first man from the Republic of Ireland, or Southern Ireland, as then the Free State, to actually lift the FA Cup, right? As a Southern Irishman. He was also the first Southern Irishman to also captain a league championship team for Manchester United, 1948, the FA Cup, and 52, the league championship as captain. So he was a pioneer. He was also Football of the Year in 1949, when a lot of stuffy English journalists went from, because he was known as Gentleman John Carey, and he kind of broke down a lot of barriers towards people looking at the Irish and all that, because there's always perceptions of the Irish. And John Carey was an absolute gent. He also played in every position on the pitch, apart from goalkeeper, I think, at one stage. So, and another thing on his bow, he actually captained the rest of Europe against a Great Britain XI in Hampden Park as well in 1949. He was so well respected. He was regarded as the best, defender in Europe at the time, and as I say, he was the first Southern Irishman to lift the FA Cup, first Southern Irishman to lift the league championship. So I'm just going a bit left field and going a bit back forward.
Yeah.
So I didn't see him, just heard about him. I know a lot about him because I read the history. On hero-wise, on Irish team, my hero was Frank Stapleton. Hero-wise is Frank Stapleton. Always be Frank Stapleton. He used to grab mad goals, and headers out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And you remember the game?
When you were younger, Tommy, that was your idol. Literally, that's how you played.
Yeah, that's how I played. I copied everything, and a little bit of Mark Hughes after that as well. But and Alan McAnally, there's a few players that of that ilk, that I liked. But Stapo, because he was vice captain of Man United, he was captain of Ireland. People forget he was captain of Ireland in '88. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And he's the quiet man. But he led the line. Remember his goal is the equaliser header against Belgium that started off the European Championship run in '86. Remember coming home and training from home farm, probably in the car with you, Rob, or whatever. And he came home and the match was starting or whatever, and getting in after training. And then Ireland were 2-1 down, and Stapleton got the header and 2-1. But there was loads of games, the goals against Spain. When he actually got a hat-trick, really. The ball won the top of VAR and the goal decision. One of his balls went over the line, and it was pulled off by one of the Spanish defenders, and it was a goal. But he didn't get it. And Ireland should have won 4-3 instead of a 3-3 draw. So yeah, Frank Stapleton to me, he led the line. He led the line brilliantly. So he was a hero. But John Carey, I think, was the pioneer of great Irish players.
I know you collected programs over the year. I'm not quite sure if you still do, Tom. Have you got a program, an Irish program with Kerry in it at all, or even a Manchester United program?
I probably have actually. Yeah, I'm thinking back. I kind of kept a lot of my stuff. I went to a program fair a few years ago, and I sold a good bit of stuff, but I still have a rake of stuff as well. Now I have a lot. Actually, talk about John Carey. There's a retro Red Royalty retro football magazine, and it's Manchester United from 1945 to 1970. So John Carey be in that. It's actually, you still get it in Easton's. So it's kind of a history of Man United from 45 that's broken down. So you'd have just different players, and from that era. So it's a good thing to have a look at, you know. So
if you're a Man United fan, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Would be good for yourself, Rob.
okay, listen, we'll wrap it up now,
Yeah.
but we can't wrap it up really without asking you gentlemen, your predictions for the end of the season. I guess it's easier, maybe easier for the top four than it is for the bottom three. So, Ken, I'll jump to you first and ask you what your prediction is for top four finish this season in the league, in Premier League, and the bottom three.
So, in order of how I think they'll finish, you're looking for the champions then, yeah? Starting off.
Yeah, I guess champions to fourth, I guess. Yeah.
Look, I still think it's between City and Liverpool. I think City, I think, will probably nip it, depending on how they get caught up with games, because they're obviously still in all four competitions. They could get tripped up that way. But I think the gear they're slipping into now, you know, they're not conceding. When City are not conceding goals, they're going to win matches. You know, that's the end of it. But City, they go for Liverpool. I think we'll put me and Tom's team in there next. I think United can keep it going. Maybe you can get third. Yeah. And then the fourth spot is not very obvious, is it? And, you know, I think with the appointment of Thomas Tuchel and the outgoing of Frank Lampard, I think Chelsea will come good and they'll probably get into the top four. I don't see any other brilliant team that's going to put on a great run. I don't see Leicester. I don't see Spurs. I think that's coming apart. So, yeah, I think Chelsea will probably get the fourth spot. That'd be my shout, lads.
And what about down the bottom?
Down the bottom, look, I think, well, obviously Sheffield United are doomed, aren't they? They're gone. Fulham probably. And then you're looking to see can Big Sam, after making 5 signings in January 31st, can he pull West Brom out? So they're going to have to catch someone like Brighton or Burnley, pull them into it. I see West Brom going, though. I think it'd be Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United. Not in that order. Sheffield United bottom, Fulham, West Brom, second, third, bottom. Yeah, those three anyway.
Cool. All right, we'll see how that works out. Tom?
Yeah, I'm similar. I think City will scrape it. I think Liverpool will definitely get second. I think United will be finished third. Like that, though, I think it's between Leicester and Chelsea. I think Liverpool pushed Spurs out of it. I think they pushed West Ham out of it. So I think it's between Leicester and Chelsea. And to be honest with you, I'd like to see Leicester do it. So I'm going to go with Leicester. All right, for fourth. And I think Chelsea will put them under pressure, though. I think Ken's right about that. I think Chelsea will come out of nowhere. Tuchel grabs wins. He grabs 1-0 wins and all that. And he has teams that find it hard to beat, you know. So he's going to be a good manager for them. I think next year you'll see Chelsea challenging next year, but that's just But anyway, on bottom three, I think Sheffield United are gone down, even after winning the bleeding cup final last week. I can't believe it, he won that. But Sheffield United are gone down. I like Fulham, what you were saying, Rob. I like Fulham. I do. I have a soft spot for Fulham, always had. I think they do play nice football, but I don't think it's enough. And I do think they're better than the Championship, but they're in that kind of a mixture of between Championship and Premier League. And I think Fulham might just go down. And I'm going to go a bit left. I think Wolves are going to fall away. I think Wolves are going to fall away and drop into that bottom three. Mm-hmm. They're just going down and down and down. Matt Doherty's gone. Jimenez is gone. Jota's gone. Now, Jota looks like Liverpool's best player this year. You know what I mean? So they've missed Jota big time. They've missed Doherty big time. They're about their wing backs coming at everybody. And then they're missing their fulcrum point, talking about big centre forwards. Jimenez is a massive loss.
They've got a big win tonight, though, Tom. They won. They beat Arsenal tonight.
Did they win tonight, did they? I didn't even I got that on my thing. Yeah, I didn't get that. I didn't get that result there. So I clicked it off because it was getting in the way there. So they won 2-1 against Arsenal. Now I didn't expect them to beat Arsenal tonight now because Arsenal had won 5 and drawn 2 in the last 7. So that's a great win. But yeah, I thought they were watching Wolves. I thought they'd been. I watched them against Charlie, and I thought they struggled against Charlie.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's a funny one. I think I'm very similar. I think we're all sort of in a similar boat. I pains me to say it, but I think City might do it. Although it's funny, you know, they still Jesus hit and miss, and they're missing Aguero. De Bruyne is out for a little bit, but they're still getting wins. And I think their strength and depth will see them through. And then I think Liverpool, and then as you said, I actually think United. You know, I've been enjoying watching United. I know a lot of Liverpool fans giving them stick, but first season I've seen them bloody close players down very, very quickly. You know, and then work hard at the back. There's goals in United as well. I actually think that Spurs will come good, just because of the goals that are there. I think with Kane and Son, you're going to score goals. That's my. I just think there's a bit of a blip at the moment. They're missing Kane, and they've lost the last 2 games. So I think when he comes back, I think it might be a different story. I think Tuchel with a new team, we'll wait and see how that goes. And then near the bottom again, Sheffield United, and then I think West Brom. Big Sam. It's goals. It's all about goals. Ultimately, you can have a great keeper, but you're still going to concede goals. I don't see any goals in West Brom. Don't see any goals in Fulham. Burnley are a tough team. So I'm going to go for Sheffield United, West Brom, and Fulham, just for the sake of the lack of goals.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that all works out. Listen, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time tonight. I know you're dashing off now to see United play. Who are you playing? Southampton. That should be a good game. So cool. So listen, I'll try and round up a few more peeps for the round number 2. Ultimately, it'd be nice to have 3 or 4 of these and then have a big one. A big one, like 12 of us on it. That would be a bit of fun. But I think it's good having it nice and short and compact. So listen, thanks for your time.
Very good.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Very good idea.
Yeah, and I'll see you all soon.